What's up, fam? This is going to be a video based upon solopreneurship. Your personal brand is probably stuck, and you feel like no matter what you do, you can't seem to gain traction. But in this video, we're going to go over some basic principles that most personal brand owners miss. If you have a personal brand, you're stuck, and you're looking to grow it, then it's probably going to be the video for you. So in this video, what will you learn? Because without knowing that, why would you want to stick around, right? So you'll be learning the raw essential principles of marketing that will help you create an authentic and authoritative brand. Why most personal brands never grow, because they focus on trends and mimicking other people, which most times never work. The principles behind how to understand your audience deeply. This is something that a lot of brand owners miss. You want to create a niche, you want to try to be someone you're not, and you're tailoring the things you talk about and the things you do around people you really don't even want to work with or like for the most part. How to identify your audience's biggest pain points and the keys to showing up consistently, giving value-based content. If you were like me when you first started out, you were in the online space pretty bamboozled, kind of confused to see how some people's brands just skyrocketed like overnight. And it was like, goddamn, how did they do that? And if you were like me on the other side of the spectrum, you struggled for a while. You kind of tried shit. You tried putting stuff together and to no avail. Nothing seemed to work. You just try shit and you're hoping that it works and you wear yourself out over time. But then I realized something, that across all platforms, across multiple stages, industries, I started to see common trends. Now I have a background in Christianity. I was raised Christian. And one thing that if I got nothing else from, being religious, very religious at one point, still had my relationship with God, but detached myself from religion, I learned that God is a God of principles, and principles apply everywhere. Nuance has its times and seasons to be introduced, but principles are eternal. They must work regardless of the season, time, or place. Ultimately, they are the underlying mechanics of why a thing works in the first place. And you'll see this in all of creation. Everything has bare foundational principles as to why it works. So here's the good news. If something is not working with your business, with your brand, just speaking specifically to entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, right? But even this can apply across the broader spectrum of issues, finances, relationships, whatever you want to call it. Principles apply to all these things. So again, if something is not working, it's because there's something you don't know. There are principles that you have not yet understood or mastered. The big risk you take once you've passed the beginner level of any stage and found some sort of success is believing that you have the keys to the kingdom and that the strategies and tactics that got you where you are in the first place are no longer relevant. Don't fall for the trap. A lot of money is made by simply mastering the art of simplicity. And that's the problem. The biggest issue is that people want to keep doing different shit, looking for ways to grow their audience, looking for the newest possible way to make a lot of money overnight. All that shit is a trap. I'm telling you, it doesn't work. And I had to go through this the hard way by experiencing it myself, always trying something new, getting into this career field, trying this investment, buying into this new trend. I've been there, I've done it, and I can tell you, none of this shit works. And as I said before, everything revolves around principles. So once you master the principles, the thing that you are attempting to try, what you want to get yourself into, right, in personal branding, you want to create a business, you want to be the center of your business, and you want people to know who you are, what you say, and why your message matters, and why it should apply to them in the first place. Once you understand the principles of how to create a successful personal brand, it gets easier to grow your audience. It gets easier to understand how you can make a lot of money in 1 month. And it becomes easier to make connections with other brand owners because they understand also that you've mastered the same principles. So for people who are at a high level and doing their thing online in the digital space, they know they can, they see one another based on the content, based on the frameworks, based on the principles. We're able to spot one another. We can see who we are, who's using what, and why it's working for them. Everything revolves around principles. Principles can be trusted because they're eternal and nothing works without them. This applies to the world of business also. It's no different. Similar to the universality of physical laws in physics, many physical laws are considered universal, meaning that they apply consistently across different contexts and conditions. So So if a principle is true in one scenario, it is expected to hold true in others that meet the same conditions. So what does that mean? Personal branding involves recognizing that certain foundational elements of branding in general should hold true across different business types and industries. If you are struggling to grow an authentic and authoritative brand, then similar to the laws of physics, this is a principle issue, not a lack of potential issue. And that's the good news. That's the good news, because you realize that it's not that you're stupid. It's not that you don't possess the innate ability to learn what it takes. You're just ignorant to what the principles are, and that's okay. We were all ignorant and didn't know something at one point. Then we learned and became informed. So the basic principles of brand building go like this. Number one, know your audience. If you don't know who you're talking to, nothing else matters. You're talking for nothing. You're getting online, getting into the digital space, expressing yourself, yes, saying what you want, yes, which is still important, but you're talking very vaguely. It's going to be more difficult to understand who your tribe is when everyone feels like you're speaking to them. People won't feel a sense of belonging because they can't see themselves through your words, through your life. So in order to stop being this ambiguous brand that people can't figure out, you have to start speaking your tribe's language, which is by recognizing what they're struggling with, solve their problems, and give them what they want. Number two is learning to solve a real world problem. As we all know, people don't buy products, they buy solutions. When it comes to personal branding, you have to be able to tap into the mind of the person you're speaking to. Focus on making their life easier, better, or more exciting by doing the thinking for them and creating a solution to a problem that they didn't even know they had. Now, this is when you have to kind of dig into your own life. The easiest way to do this, let me just kind of set the bar here for the video. Easiest way to build a personal brand is to speak to your former self. You'll find it so much easier to speak in an authoritative tone and to speak to problems when you yourself have already faced them, but have created solutions or already have a solution to how to overcome it. Think 3 to 5 year younger self. What were you struggling with 5 years ago? What did you overcome? Was it a money problem? Was it a fitness problem? Was it a mindset problem? Whatever it is, speak to who you used to be. Create a viable solution, drip that down into your content, long form, short form, and let your people know you hear their pain. Number 3, be different. And this shouldn't be difficult because you are a unique individual. Being different shouldn't be difficult when you're already born a unique person. It's just incorporate your interests, your topics of study, the things that you're curious about, and the aspects of life that you want to get to know more about. As I said before, things you've already overcame. This is what makes you who you are. You can be the weightlifter who sings opera. You can be the nuclear physicist who teaches mental health. You can be the mechanic who shows people how to make cakes. I mean, you put together any 2 or 3 different scenarios or topics of interest, and this is who you are. This is what makes you who you are. The last thing you want to do is get trapped in a box. That's the most difficult place to get out of in the digital space once you place yourself in it, because that's your perception. That's the visual image with an attached ideal that you're going to find yourself more difficult to get away from, because this is how people now see you. This is how they view you online. Number 4, build trust. And I think we all know what that looks like. Show up, be consistent. People buy from who they trust. Be consistent, be honest, and be helpful. When you're showing up every day, be authentic. Like I said, this is going to be a lot easier when you're able to establish a former problem or issue that you faced. Because it was difficult for you, you can understand the innate pain of the person that you are making content for, you're making products and services for. You won't have to try to be all gimmicky, because this is essentially something that you actually struggle with, and realize that other people struggle with it also, and that there's a real solution because you overcame it. The last thing you want to do is look like the kiosk guy at the mall or the kiosk lady when you're walking by and you're like, no, I don't want your cleaning stuff. No thanks. We all know what they look like. We all know how hard up they are for a sale. They don't really give a shit that your shoes are dirty. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know. I don't think they care. It looks like a sale. Either way, don't be the kiosk person. Number 5, simplify the message. Make it crystal clear to the point where a 5th grader can know what you do, who you are, what you talk about, and who you can help. The brain hates confusion. So anything that causes us to go into a state of chaos and trying to figure stuff out, it gets put to the back of the line as far as memory. So if when you're speaking online and you're in the digital space and you're creating content and people are trying to figure out what you do and it takes them too long to figure it out, you will not be hurt. So hone in on your message. Realize who you are. Who are you intrinsically? What are you showing up to talk about? And how does it relate to the person you're creating content for? Either make what you do crystal clear or risk talking to an audience of Zero. It's important also, number 6, trigger emotion. This is important because I say this in all my videos, especially when it comes to personal branding. Logically, people don't want to hear facts. They don't care about data. They don't care about the newest trends or analysis, data charts or whatever. No one cares about that. They want to know, do you understand them? Can you connect with their hearts on an emotional level and describe what they're suffering from or what they're going through with vivid detail? And that takes high level communication. Writing, speaking, right? The primary two formats of communication between humans is writing and speaking. You got sign language too. That's a different topic. So yes, there are different ways, but primarily we know that writing and speaking are the two ways that people communicate. And if you're interested and want to get to know what that looks like in further detail so you can reach your audience on a deeper level, I made a video. I'll post it somewhere up there. Mastering the art of high level communication. This is important because people want to be heard. And if they're not heard, they don't listen. And if they don't listen, you don't have an audience. Number 7 is calling them to action. Invoke a response. Never assume that they'll know what to do next because you gave them knowledge or information. Let's just say you were able to even break down their problems and you spoke to them directly, right? You cracked through the logical side and you got to them on an emotional level. You got them moving. They want to listen to you more. They're interested in who you are. They follow you and they want to know what your brand's about, or they want to follow you, I should say, and want to know what your brand's about. But at the end of, say, like some long form content you got, like your YouTube or newsletter, if all you do at the end of your YouTube video is say, all right guys, thanks for watching, see you later, or at the end of your writing, hey guys, it was cool communicating with you, catch you on the flip side, it's not a very compelling ending to a situation where you were able to express who you are, what you're about, and how you relate to them, right? You already got them on the hook, so you have to call them to action. You have to solicit a response so that they can have a better understanding of why they should continue to look at your content and look at your brand, look at who you are and what you're doing. And number 8 is just repeat. Oftentimes that's what business is. You are consistently doing the same thing every single day, mastering what? The principles. At the highest possible levels where the most money is being made, I promise you, it's very simple. There aren't 20, 30 different things that you're doing. There's 1 to 3 at best on a daily basis, but they're mastered. It's easy. Principles make branding seamless. It takes the hard work out of things. Once you know how a thing works and why it works, you can continue to rely on it because the principles are what true and they can be trusted because they work time and time again. Most people try to grow their audience by posting more, speaking louder, or mimicking trends, but none of that works. If you don't truly understand the people you're trying to serve, connections aren't built overnight. It actually takes you giving a damn to get to know the person you want to help. So if you want to stand out, build trust, and create a loyal audience that engages with everything you do, then mastering the building blocks should become the priority, which is number 1, empathy. Understand them better than they understand themselves. Your audience doesn't just want solutions, they want to feel seen. People feel connected when you can understand what they're going through and why they're going through it. To truly connect, you have to step into their world, understand their struggles, frustrations, and fears, but don't just stay at surface level, go deeper. You gotta start asking some real serious questions here, right? What keeps them up at night? Why do they keep hitting the same plateau? What is it that they're struggling with, and why does it keep reoccurring over and over and over? So for your personal brand, think about yourself. What struggles did you continually go through? Why did you feel stuck in a recurring loop month after month, week after week, day after day? The goal behind a personal brand should be to speak to who you used to be. This helps build authority faster and overall authenticity. You don't have to try to become somebody you're not. You're simply speaking to yourself, but a version of you who didn't know what you know now. Mirror their emotions when you speak. Mirror their emotions when you write. Use their language, their tone, their perspectives. Think relevance. Solve their problems with a unique perspective. And this is where people struggle with as far as the niche aspect goes, because they try to pick who they think they should be online based upon who they're watching and what they're looking at. Now, social media is an enormous ecosystem comprised of different creators who are doing different things. So here's my personal take on that and what I think is helpful. If you follow 1,000 people, stop following 1,000 people. Narrow it down to at least 100 to 150 creators, which is still a lot. So I would actually suggest more like 100 or less, and follow about 25 to 50 big accounts, 25 medium-sized accounts, and 25 small accounts, and just see the synchronicities and everything that they're doing. You'll gain a much more unique perspective when you see what's working in conjunction with who you already are, what you talk about, and what you like to do. Nobody is above influence. So regardless of where you go and what you do in life, you will be influenced. The key is to curate your influences so that you're not becoming or doing things that's outside of alignment with who you are and what you're trying to become as a brand or as a solopreneur, whatever. Your unique world perspective and world view, when you speak about it in the digital space, will be heard because people can sense authenticity. No one likes a fake. No one likes a phony. We're all learning from one another at the end of the day, but we know who's speaking and doing exactly what the next person is doing. It just doesn't feel right. It kind of feels a little cringe, but you learn. You live and you learn, and as you dive into the digital space and become who you are as a person and as a brand, you find your voice. So essentially, you become a niche. You become the person who is the niche instead of trying to find one. And I'll link a video about that up there. You'll see that also. Feel free to dive in, but don't feel like you have to put yourself into a box. I did that before. It sucked. And it takes a while to, get yourself back into that headspace of feeling like you can create content once you do that. Once you lock yourself in, it's difficult to get out. So you have to recreate your own mind. You have to recreate your own perspective. And you have to essentially kind of find your voice all over again. And that's difficult to do. So be you when you talk. Be you when you promote your products and services. Be you as a brand. You are the brand. Another video. Go check it out. Again, build trust through consistency. Show up every day. Post when you say you're going to post. Be the reliable voice. People respect you. People trust you. And people will see you for who you are when you show up day after day. Entrepreneurship, solopreneurship, the whole idea of being a brand is about you becoming a different person. The goal is to become someone you've never been who can do something extremely extraordinary so you can have the life that you truly desire. And that might sound so way out of the way. Like if personal branding is new to you, I promise you it's not as crazy as it sounds. Focus on personal development. Expand your mind and your reality will do the same. Another important aspect of personal branding is just being transparent. We're always looking for relatability. That's why I said earlier, it's good to follow big accounts. You can kind of go through their journey, see where they came from, but also work yourself into the digital space of paying attention to accounts who are similar to yourself because you'll see more authenticity. It's hard to relate to a giant when you're still the little guy. You're learning. So if you want to be related to, it's good for you to come down to the little guy's level, to the person who is still trying to learn just like you. We relate with brands who relate with us. So what does that take? As I keep saying over and over, is authenticity. When you show up with authenticity and consistency, your audience will start to trust you, not just as a creator, but as someone who truly cares. And that, my friend, is when the magic happens. Be real. Be you. Talk about your interests. Talk about the things that helped you once upon a time. Branding is nothing more than an image with an attached ideal. When you think Gucci, when you think Benz, when you think Prada, when you think all these high-class luxury brands, what do you associate with them? Wealth, opulence, money. So who you are as a person, what you speak about, your topic of interest, your studies, what you feel like your intrinsic purpose or passion is, when that's expressed, you don't have to try to find a niche because you are the niche. People will see the authenticity in that and they make the decision of whether or not they want to follow you and draw closer to your brand. And the beauty is that in the digital space, it's so many different types of individuals that unless you're trying, it's hard to really be just like somebody else. Unless you're talking like them, you're promoting like them, you're advertising like them, you're writing, speaking, like it's kind of difficult to do that because where we're at now, you are, as the creator, the influence. You are the influencer. Legacy media, TV, all that other stuff, that not to say that's like gonna go away completely, but it's beginning to fade. So the new influencers are the micro creators. It's the micro teachers, the people who are online creating solutions for the everyday guy and gal like yourself. To grow your audience, don't just post content, connect, understand their world, solve their most pressing problems with your unique perspective. Show up consistently with honesty and value. Do this and you won't just build an audience, you'll build a movement. Again, when you think of Mercedes, you think luxury. When you hear Nike, you think athletics. I mean, the list could go on and on and on. I think you kind of get my gist. So allow your brand to grow organically. Don't feel like you need to be like anybody else. You're a different person for a reason. Talk about your interests. Show up consistently. Speak to the older version of yourself, which is essentially going to become your audience. Hammer away at the same message. Say it 1,000 different times. Either way, you are the brand, and what you talk about will either be relatable to some or not relevant at all. But If you want to build longevity online, the best way to go about it, as I keep saying, speak to who you used to be. The movement is you. You are the movement. What you talk about, you are the brand. Now, the video is kind of geared more towards beginner brand owners and solopreneurs, but just I'll dive into it a little bit, get a little bit more advanced for those who have been doing this for a little bit, but kind of need a little bit of a refresher. You built the foundation of your personal brand, crafted your offers, and grown an audience. The systems are in place and you've done the work, but now things feel flat. That early spark, the momentum that attracted your audience has faded. Growth is slow, engagement isn't where it used to be, and no matter how much you try, it just feels like your message isn't cutting through the noise like it used to. Alright, so let me tell you something. As a brand owner, hitting the plateau isn't the problem, staying there is. This happens in all aspects of life, especially in business. It's a roller coaster, everything. Just like one of the 7 hermetic laws, it's rhythm. You're in and you're out, right? Things are up and then they'll go down. Things are up, then they go down. But you can control the growth. You can control the rhythm once you understand the principles. So breaking through whatever that plateau is, it isn't about doing more, it's about getting better. And this is where the principles of personal branding come into play. So if, let's just say at that level, right, if I had to start all over again, I would go like this. So for those who kind of are over the beginner hump but kind of need that little bit of a refresher, like I said, this is what I'll do. Clarify your message. Your audience doesn't just follow what you do, they follow why you do it. You are the person that they're ultimately seeking, right? When they get online, when they see you, they're interested in what you do and why you do it. But if your message feels unclear, they'll just drift, unfollow, on to the next creator. Go back to your first love, right? And reconnect with your vision. Go back to the basics and ask yourself, what does your brand stand for? And why does it stand for that? Refine your messaging a bit so it better aligns with the transformation that you're trying to bring out of your audience. There's stages when it comes to everything. You don't want to just jump all the way to plan Z. You want to go back to the basics so you can understand the patterns, the shifts, the barriers step by step that your audience is facing. Speak to the more advanced needs. As I said, this portion isn't more so for the beginners. It can still apply though if you use it. At the least, you'll know what to do when you get to that stage. But as your audience evolves, so should your content. Shift your focus from beginner tips to more advanced solutions that reflect their current struggles. It's like the value ladder, right? You don't want to speak to the beginner forever because you're changing, you're evolving, you're growing, right? When I said earlier, you speak to the 3 to 5 year version of yourself, eventually you would have surpassed that stage that you're at, and then they would have caught up to where you are. So as you keep evolving, so should your message. Be memorable, lean into the unique perspective and aspect of who you are. Lean into your story. Lean into what makes you you. It's an enormous ecosystem of digital content online, but you can differentiate yourself just by speaking on your past experiences, what you've learned, and how it can apply to people who follow you. Essentially your audience. As you grow, they'll grow with you. They don't want to see just another knockoff version of the next person. There's a lot of generics out there, but you're a one of one. So you want to focus your content around being a one of one. Humanize your brand, share your story. Like I said, be relatable to your audience. Show up, be available. And when you begin to do this, right, this is getting into some more intermediary aspects, but as you develop your content ecosystem, you're going to start to feel like you're talking about the same things over and over and over. That's cool because that's all a brand is. It's a central theme. It's a message with an attached ideal. You're just really speaking on who you are in multiple ways. You're growing. So as you grow, your level of speak, your experience, and the things you talk about and what you do will grow with you. But you're going to be saying the same things for a while. Respect the growth. And when you get online, right, the easiest thing to do if you want to create more compelling content, start with long form. Get on YouTube. Build a newsletter. And if you're interested, I do have a newsletter. It's called The Reality Letter. I talk about solopreneurship, one-person businesses, mindset, self-improvement. I get into all of that. Basically what you're hearing on the YouTube letter, which consequently is the script for this video. See? What you're reading, what you're listening to is a newsletter. So you make long form and drip that down into short form content. Spread it abroad, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, X posts, all of that. Spread your content across the diaspora. Allow people to see you and view you on different platforms and repurpose it when necessary. Leverage strategic visibility. That's very important. You want to make sure you're getting in front of the people that you would consider your audience. Your brand doesn't grow in a vacuum. Expansion requires intentional strategies to reach new audiences across different platforms. And collaborate. Collaboration is important. Really try to build relationships with other creators. When you get to a certain point, you're going to notice that you're beginning to see other creators doing what you're doing. That's fine. They'll be saying the same things. They'll be soliciting the same types of products, same types of services. Whatever it is, that's a great thing. You want to be in these circles, especially if what they're doing is working and is profitable. That's good. Don't shy away from that. Don't get weird. Communicate. collaborate. But bottom line, your brand is just a platform. It's a movement. So respect your movement. Hitting a plateau isn't a sign that something is broken. You just need to tweak some things around a bit. And that's okay. That's part of growth. Nothing stays the same forever. Dig deeper into your messaging. Dig deeper into the value. And show up for your audience, man. Like, be consistent. Be the person who starts and finishes. But that's all I got, folks. Hope this video was enjoyable. Please feel free to click like and subscribe. I'll drop all the links in the description. Subscribe to the reality letter if you're looking to grow your personal brand. I'll drop a free blueprint called the One Person Business Blueprint in the description. I also made an ebook, Create Your Own Reality ebook, if you're interested in that. Unlock a mindset that you've never had before. Build a powerful brand. Show up for your audience. Live a purpose-driven life and create your own reality. Please feel free to click like and subscribe. I make videos like this all the time. I post them weekly. It was a pleasure speaking to you, folks. Catch you on the next video. Peace.